It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce to you again Marti Wronski, who will give the 2015 commencement address. As you have all just heard, Marti is a real treasure to her family, her friends, her colleagues, and certainly her alma mater, St. Norbert College. Please join me in welcoming Marti Wronski. Marti?
All right, I gotta arrange my doodads here. Got doodads. That baby was heavy, no joke. He almost got me in the nose. We're good though. Good afternoon, Abbott Neville, President Kunkel, Chair Williams, Dr. Chu and Abbott Garner, distinguished professors, alumni, families of these incredible graduates, and congratulations, graduates, on this incredible milestone in your young lives. Let's see if we can get the, hold on, we got a technical. Are they gonna go up there? There we go, all right. Wasn't gonna acknowledge those, but just pretend I didn't do that. All right, today marks 21 years from the day that I sat where you are right now. In those 21 years, I have found myself in a lot of places I never ever thought I'd be, and this is definitely one of them. When President Kunkel called me to ask me almost a year ago if I would take on this role, my head started spinning. Yes, I was immensely honored to be considered and asked. No, I couldn't think of a greater honor or anywhere I would rather be. But the gravity of finding the perfect message for today initially seemed overwhelming. Overwhelming because primarily, based on some individual and anecdotal research I had conducted, it seemed to me that no more than 3% of all graduates actually remember anything about their commencement speaker or what they said. And of that 3%, 99% only remember the person because either they were A, truly famous, they were related to that person, my husband will remember this speech as a result, or they were just one of those people that always remembers all that useless trivia, and so you like to be their friend. I myself have graduated twice now and have no recollection of either commencement speaker, and that's just being honest. And beyond all this, I started to ask myself, what was it about me that was bright enough, accomplished enough, smart enough, or really any of the enoughs to have something profound to say to you today? Nevertheless, here I am, living proof that no one can say no to President Kunkel. So the next question was, how exactly does one go about deciding what to say in one of these commencement speeches? I knew I couldn't rely on stories of famous friends, and I absolutely could not rely on any form of a stellar sense of humor. So I started, of course, with Google. Sadly, it appeared that that is where that 97% of the speakers no one remembers also started. Google's advice: be very serious, do not pick more than one topic to talk about, and be somber for the day. Not gonna work for me. Next, I thought I'd talk to some recent graduates, and in my practice at Miller Park, I have had two wonderful interns working with me, so I went to them. I asked the two of them first if they remembered their graduation speakers, no and no. And then I said to them, okay, let's pretend you could. What do you wish they had talked to you about? There was a lot of hemming and hawing on their part. And then they said, you know, Marti, there really isn't any perfect thing to say in a commencement address. Do what you do with us. Just have a conversation. Give some advice. My first thought was that my one intern's next assignment was going to be to write down every piece of advice she thought I had ever given her quickly, and then maybe add it, some formalities around the edges. But realistically, I knew she was onto something. And so I started thinking and asking myself what I had been asking everyone else. I suppose you can all decide to listen or not. But before you make this choice, consider this. 21 years ago, I sat exactly where you sit today. I paid for every dime of my college education on my own. I knew no one powerful, famous, or well-off. I am the daughter of two amazing educators who could and did love me to pieces, but who had never spent a day in the business world that I was about to enter. I distinctly remember feeling equal parts thrilled, lost, and scared. The world in front of me was very exciting, but it was a complete unknown. Today, I'm up here not because when I was sitting where you are right now, it was clear that I was headed to big places. Not because I was that kid that always had it figured out. I assure you that was not the case. I'm up here today because I have spent my entire professional life following a few pieces of advice from a few wonderful individuals that I have been blessed to meet in my lifetime and who have helped me become me. I can also tell you that I am, by my own account, happy. I'm in love with my husband of many years. I'm a pretty good mom if you ask me, maybe not if you ask my 4 boys. I'm a good lawyer, a good Catholic, and a good citizen overall. And if you and I share any of those goals, it seems it couldn't hurt much to listen. And if you're not buying any of that, I am still much older than you. And I've made many more mistakes. So I decided that I would talk to you today about 4, okay? 4 very simple but important things that all the most successful individuals I have ever known do and do well. They are: practice giving back, be nice, fail well, and open yourself to and connect with others. So let's move on to the first. Practice giving back. We want one. Okay, there we go. You have a million choices in front of you right now. Let me present you with one of the more important. You can choose to practice giving, or you can conclude that you have nothing valuable or useful to share and never really know. I would respectfully submit that giving of yourself in some way to your community, to your favorite institution, to your favorite charity is one of the greatest things you can do for yourself in the next 5 years. Why the next 5 years? Why when you're just starting out, you're just finding your way? Why not later when you have more money, more influence? Isn't that the time to give? No, the time is now. Once you see yourself as a giver, a concept I hope to start instilling in you today, giving practiced over time becomes habitual, and then the rest takes care of itself. Apart from my relationship with my partner in all things, it is in giving and the time that I spend creating, pondering, and succeeding in my volunteer work that I find the most joyful without qualification. I won't lie to you. I always felt a little bit out of place when I was growing up. For example, I was that girl in high school that was still a Girl Scout when she was a senior, and I would sneak around so nobody saw me go into that room. You know what I'm talking about. Every Christmas, from the time I was 3 until 12, I was a holiday elf who traveled with Santa from nursing home to nursing home. That would mortify most children. I loved every minute of it. It didn't matter that I didn't fit in, and it still doesn't, because when we give, we are not judged. We just are. When I went on to high school, college, and law school, I began to realize that volunteering kept my feet on the ground. It gave me a place to belong, even when I was far from home, lonely, or feeling like I was not in control of my own destiny. What I did not realize is that the work I was supposedly doing for others was doing far more for me. Today, giving back is one of my greatest expressions of thanks. I realize that by some grace of God, I know people and have the power to influence people who want to do great things, but might need a nudge, a bit of direction, or just a great cause. For example, about 6 years ago now, a small group of my friends and I, you saw a reference to it in the earlier video, who share a passion for kids and baseball, got together to form Wisconsin's first ever Miracle League. We did this through a whole lot of failing and research and meetings, and we raised those funds to build an all-accessible Little League field for those kiddos with disabilities. This place has it all, you guys. Walk-up music, lights, a scoreboard, a snack shack. You know how important the snack shack is. And if you ever want to be energized by a group of humans who have mastered the struggle to overcome in the most astounding ways, spend a little time with these Miracle Leaguers and you will be forever changed. You will see children with disabilities of all kinds, from Down syndrome to autism, some who are bound to wheelchairs, and some whose bodies just don't follow where their heads want to go. These athletes, paired with their buddies, paired with their able-bodied buddies, work with all of their hearts to connect with that ball, to make it around those bases, and to cross home plate. And I would say 8 out of 10 times, they crawl back to home plate again just to give it a kiss. In 2010, at our grand opening ceremony, the father of one of our Miracle Leaguers walked up to me and very sincerely thanked me for everything we had done to create a place for his son to be able to play baseball. He handed me a little piece of paper, this big, that will remain for all time in my office at Miller Park. On it was a quote from Mother Teresa. At the end of life, we will not be judged by how many diplomas we have received, how much money we have made, how many great things we have done. We will be judged by, I was hungry and you gave me to eat. I was naked and you clothed me. I was homeless and you took me in. Hungry not for bread, but hungry for love. Naked not only for clothing, but naked for human dignity and respect. Homeless not only for want of a room of bricks, but homeless because of rejection. You see, there is no judgment in volunteer work. Anytime you are willing to give from your heart is accepted with gratitude, whether you have a bit of time, a special skill, or yes, money. You can help another human being on this planet and begin to develop your own habit of giving back. Start now. Every moment of giving to another can be your source of strength, an example of endurance, and a moment of grace and clarity. On to our second topic. Be kind and be polite. That is, do not be mean or rude. This one's about as straightforward as they come, and it's the one topic I knew I had to talk about today. I am confident that many of you have seen that bumper sticker that says quite eloquently, mean people stink. I actually think it says suck, but we're going with stink, okay? I love that bumper sticker, and it has indeed been the source of many conversations I have had at home over pizza with my kids and at the fanciest of dinners. Many people believe that it is unusual, an aberration really, for an attorney to be on kindness patrol. I've heard it all. Marty, mean people are just a part of life. You should understand that. Marty, no one would understand nice if it weren't for the mean people. Marty, you cannot be possibly be successful in your job and be nice all the time. Well, for starters, let me be clear, I am not nice all the time. I don't succeed in doing that. However, I believe with every ounce of me that no one makes him or herself great by showing how small someone else is. A study out of Berkeley recently, it was published about 2 years ago, concluded that people who were generally considered mean either, 1, were raised in a family environment that tolerated such behavior, or 2, were not confident in their own skills or idiosyncrasies, and so were quick to criticize others to make themselves feel better. As I stand here today, there's not much I can do about the way you were raised, although we all know blaming our parents for things, that's old school. The second point, however, is right on. You all know exactly what I'm talking about because you've been on one side of this or the other. The kid at the playground that not only laughs hysterically at, but continues to remind everyone of the little guy that wet his pants last week. The high school student who draws the line in the sand between the cool and the not cool. Or the Facebook post that makes fun of another's appearance, ideology, or weakness. Mean people are pointing out to us, to everyone really, their own weaknesses. Remember that in today's world, any success gained from being mean is fleeting. Somehow, somewhere, young professionals were given the idea that kindness is weak and ineffective. If you believe nothing else I say to you today, please believe me when I tell you that kindness coupled with reasoned intellect, articulated politely but forcefully, is never weak. Let me share one example. Early in my career in professional sports, I was negotiating a player deal with one of those big head honcho player agents. I was new to the Brewers and to the world of these professional sports agents. And like I said, this guy was one of the top guns. He and I exchanged a few emails in order to set up a call regarding a particular player's deal before we ever spoke live. I promised myself that I would let the phone ring twice when he called. Then I'd pick it up, and I'd say, "Good afternoon, this is Marty," because that's how I always answer my phone. "Oh, how cute. A girl lawyer from Milwaukee." Yep, that's what he said. How cute, a girl lawyer from Milwaukee. No doubt about it, rude and mean. If we are keeping score, I won that negotiation. refusing to match his rudeness while knowing he would not get the best of me. And 11 years later, when we met to negotiate an even bigger deal, something very interesting happened. He said to me, "Marty, do you remember the first time we ever spoke? And I gave you a hard time about being from Milwaukee." I kind of thought being from Milwaukee part was the least of it, but that was the part he went with. "No," I said, knowing full well that not only did I remember every word, but every breath I had taken during the entire conversation. "Oh," he said, "well, okay, I was an ass and you're a hell of a lawyer." And there it was. Nice win. It took a while, but nice win. If you always operate from a place of kindness in everything you do, it will quite literally define who you are, and it will just become contagious. It will affect your family, your romantic relationships, your friendships, and your professional relationships. It will never be viewed as weak, at least not in the long term. This approach does require a bit of perspective. Being kind does not mean being a doormat, being dumb, or acting in a naive manner. Rather, it means taking an extra minute to acknowledge another, to say hello, and to understand those you're meeting in business are people too. Taste your words before you spit them out. Please practice kindness. Number 3, fail well. Not usually a topic we talk about at graduation, but we're going to go with it, okay? It has been brought to my attention more than once that I am living the dream. How so, you may ask? Well, on a very basic level, I get paid to watch baseball games. By my calculation, I have watched over 2,000 baseball games as a major league executive. Baseball fan or not, we all know that sporting events have a magical way of bringing people together, of uniting individuals who may have little else in common around a group of men or women running around on some kind of surface, sometimes with a ball. People often count their presence at sporting events among the most memorable moments of their lives. I do. I will never forget Game 5 of the division playoffs in 2011, when Nyjer Morgan hit a single in the bottom of the 10th inning to beat the Arizona Diamondbacks and advance the Brewers to the NL Championship Series. My entire family was there, and I screamed and jumped in ways that I'm not sure I had ever screamed and jumped. Moments of pure joy notched in our memories for all time because of the success of a group of individuals. The reality is, however, that in baseball games I watch, the thing I observe more frequently than anything else is failure. The Brewers yesterday and today, for example. Yes, I was watching on my phone. Think about it. Many believe that hitting a baseball is the hardest task in all of sports. A player who can regularly hit a baseball 3 out of 10 times is a star. A player that can do that over a number of seasons is absolutely a Hall of Famer. What this means, however, is that the absolute very best players fail 7 out of 10 times. Fail. And that failure is individual. It's just that hitter and that pitcher. In almost any other profession, a failure rate of 70% is generally considered tragic, unless you're a weatherman. What I have learned, however, is that failure just is. There's no way around it. In fact, the reality is that the more you practice failing, the better you get at it. Those who fail well accept that failure will happen, and rather than permitting it to stop them in their tracks, they learn to use failure and to do better the next time around. A ball player who's afraid of failure will never step up to the plate. A professional who is afraid of failure will avoid difficult situations where the person needs to be accountable or where their abilities are truly tested. In contrast, the professional who has learned to handle failure is willing to take risks, accept challenges, and very often accomplish things that were seemingly unattainable. Hank Aaron, who is considered one of the greatest players of all times, played for the Milwaukee Brewers for 13 years. Hank had 12,364 at-bats in his lifetime and amassed 3,771 hits for a lifetime batting average of .304. He struck out 70% of the time. But Hank knew what to do with that. He said, "I have always felt that although someone may defeat me and I strike out in a ball game, the pitcher on that particular day was just the better player. But I know when I see him again, I'm going to be ready for his curveball." Failure is a part of success. There's no such thing as a bed of roses all your life, but failure will never stand in the way of success if you learn from it. None of this is to say that failure is fun, or that you should learn to accept failure. And it certainly does not mean that failure is not frustrating. The holes in the clubhouse walls and the post-strikeout broken bats are definitely testament to that, and there are a lot of them, friends. However, if you watch the best ball players after they strike out, you'll see them return to the dugout and immediately start talking to their counterparts. They're not just shooting air. They're asking what they did wrong. They're asking what they could do better. These players spend hours with video. Those who fail well will ultimately succeed well, and with humility, compassion, and perspective, fail well. This brings me to my final point for the afternoon. No cheer. Good job. Okay. Open yourselves to and connect with others. I'm not talking about some touchy-feely New Age philosophy, friends. I'm talking about how we engage and communicate with others. A recent Wall Street Journal article identified the two greatest weaknesses of young people perceived across the job market in the last 3 years. So the last 3 years. The first was that recent college graduates appear apathetic about their futures, and the second was that the recent college graduates cannot communicate effectively. As I stand here today, I choose to believe that there is not a single one of you that is apathetic about your future, and that every one of you, if asked, would confirm that you are prepared to pour your heart and soul into creating an incredible life for yourself. And yet, if the Wall Street Journal has identified this, I think we better make sure that we're not perceived as apathetic. I really think it comes down to yet another choice. You can engage in your world, commit to yourself, and be in charge of your future, or you can just hope that good things will come. Folks, no one can take these next steps in your life for you. To this point, every one of you has generally followed certain preset guidelines. Grade school, high school, college. But now you are in charge of charting your own path. Yes, that can be intimidating. No, you cannot cross your arms and point to the economy, the job market, or student loans as an excuse to stop trying to figure it out. This is hard work. None of us likes to feel silly or uncertain or confused, but please know this: now is the best and right time to feel silly, uncertain, or confused. Now is the time to get out there and ask questions and to watch those who have taken career paths in which you have interest. Now is the time to stumble a little bit, and now is the time to adopt a profound no-quit attitude. Remember, your choices do not need to be and will not be perfect. We just talked about failing. But I cannot overstate the importance that you be their author. If you write the story of your life, you will never be described as apathetic. That's the engagement, no apathy part. Let's talk about communication quickly. It is no secret that the ability to communicate is increasingly becoming the golden ticket to success, because fewer and fewer graduates are able to communicate effectively, verbally or in writing. Why? I would offer technology as the number one reason. Deep breath, deep breath. Today, we turn in homework online. We can take classes online. We break up with people via text or tweet. We put on those headphones so we can walk across campus or through a grocery store without being bothered. We email thank you notes to employers. And we submit applications online. And if you're like me, I blame technology for nearly every mistake in my entire day. Please do not get me wrong. Technology is a huge piece of my personal puzzle, and it is unlikely that I could continue to do what I do without it. However, I must tell you that I am also immensely grateful that I entered the work market when I did. I never had a cell phone, let alone a smartphone, until my fifth year of legal practice. I hand-wrote letters, I walked to the judge, I argued in front of the judge. I checked my voicemail 3 times a night, and you had to dial into it. I could hear the tone in people's voices. I could see expressions on their face. I could see tears of joy or sadness. And quite naturally, I came to understand the proper role of technology. Every one of you talented people sitting here in front of me today must realize that this is still a people world, and to succeed, you must live and engage in it. Bosses, peers, clients, and customers need to be able to look you in the eye, hear you, and learn to trust you. They need to know you and even like you. You need to be able to articulate your ideas, your thoughts, and demonstrate your passion. Now, there is a time and a place for everything, and there's no doubt that technology used properly can make all of us more effective. Do use technology to try to bridge communication gaps that may or could exist, or to enhance the messages you would like to share as I have attempted to do with these screenshots of emojis today. Technology is building bridges, but it is also building walls. Those who see and understand this will be the most successful. Friends, engage, open up, connect, communicate. Get out there. Make your own development your full-time job, at least for a while. Volunteer, give back, ask for advice, take chances, fail. Fail well. Most of all, be nice. And please be a kind, accomplished citizen that makes this institution proud of each and every one of you. Be your best you. Congratulations to each and every one of you in this room, and thank you so much for letting me share today with you.
Great job, Marty, and thank you very much. A perfect message for our graduates and a pretty good message for all the rest of us as well. So thank you again.